morning, children. We have finished our second unit, that is plant tissues. If somebody has not watched that video, please see the link in the description, and you can directly click on the description and go to the second unit and completely listen that video. It's a one video. Okay, and now today we are going to see the third unit, which is called as animal tissues. Animal tissues. So as we have seen that tissues in plants have different functions. In the same way, the tissues in the animals also will have the same functions. So what are the different functions of these tissues which are present in the animals? Already we have discussed that tissues are nothing but a group of cells. So all these group of cells will perform some function, and if you take the plant tissue, we have seen meristematic tissue, we have seen the dermal tissue, we have seen the ground tissue, we have seen the vascular tissue. All these four tissues has different functions, and here in the animal tissues also we are going to see some tissues and their functions. Okay, so now here in the as we have studied in the plant tissues, here the tissues also have some functions. In the first, you can see that there are some tissues in the human body or animals, isn't it, they which cover our body, which protect our body from the foreign organisms. It is a protection layer for the inner parts of our body. So it's like an outer covering, it's like a protective layer, isn't it? So second one, there are some tissues which help in our movement. See, you can move your hands, you can move your legs, you can move your face, your neck and whatnot. So several connections are there here, right? So all these tissues which are in your body will help you to move. So there are some tissues like you can say there are some tissues in the muscles, there are some bones in your body which help in your movement. So if they don't move, you cannot move your body. For example, if you have to move your neck, the bone which is here should work, and if the bone here should work, the muscles which are attached to that bone should work. So the bones and muscles which are in the body will help you to move, isn't it? So even to walk, even to do something with your hand, whatnot. And there are some tissues for connection. What for connection? Connecting the muscles and bones. Muscles and bones, they should be connected with each other. So for that purpose, there should be some tissues in our body. And there are some tissues which are responsible for carrying the information. See, if something happens in on your toe, okay, something pricks into your toe, so you should feel that, isn't it? So your toe will not feel that. You should know what actually happened. So all that information from that toe should pass to your brain. That means there should be somebody to carry the information from the one part of the body to the other. So that is how the information should be carried. So that means there should be some tissues where the information is carried from one place to the other place. And even you can take the food materials, you can take the oxygen, okay, and all these things should pass from one place to the other parts of the body. If you take the oxygen should go to the heart, and from the heart it should go to each and every cell of our body, each and every tissue of our body. So for that purpose, there should be again some tissues which will be helping in this movement. So what are all these tissues? We are going to discuss in this particular unit, which is called as animal tissues. Okay, children? Okay, children, first of all, there are four different kinds of tissues here. The first tissue is the epithelial tissue. Second one is the connective tissue. Third one is the muscle tissue. And fourth one is the nervous cells. So out of these, first two are given in a detailed way, and whereas third and fourth are not in that detail, okay? And so all these four tissues are usually present in the animal tissues, in the animals. So these tissue, we are going to study about these tissues now. The first one is the epithelial tissue. What is the first one? Epithelial tissue. We will study it in detail. Okay, children, first of all, we will read about the epithelial tissues, okay? In the epithelial tissue, the first point we are going to study is the tissues which are here. They form the thin and delicate lining of the organs. These tissues are very, very thin. They're extremely thin, you can say. And also they are absolutely flat. Okay, you know what is flat? Yeah. So they are very, very thin tissues, and also they are flat tissues. Now, where these kind of tissues are present in our body? That's the question now. So we will try to answer that question. First one, what you can see is here, if this is your mouth, the food which you eat will go from the mouth into the tube-like structure and then enters into your stomach. Okay. Now this particular part is called as the esophagus. Let me write here. It is called as esophagus. And now here you can see that this kind of lining is present in the special part which is called as the esophagus. So the esophagus is made up of the cells, or made up of the tissue, or it is lined by the tissue which is the epithelial tissue. Okay, so what tissue is present on the esophagus? That is the epithelial tissue. And even the lining of your mouth. So if you drink some hot tea and all, the first layer which comes out, isn't it? It will be very, very thin layer, isn't it? It will be extremely thin. If you drink hot water, the palate on your in your mouth will burn, and like a thin lining of it will come out. So that is nothing but the epithelial tissue. And next is the lining of blood vessels. There are two kinds of blood vessels in our body: arteries and veins. These are the ones which carry the blood to different parts of the body, or to the different cells of the body, to the different tissues of the body. So these linings, okay, the blood vessel, if it is artery or if it is a vein and all, the lining of these blood vessels are also made up of what? Epithelial tissue. And they have a very, very good nature. That is, they are semi-permeable in nature. Now what is this semi-permeability? That is, we are going to study in our next chapter, which completely deals with the semi-permeable membranes and all. So now let me give you a little information about the semi-permeable. Okay, so now here, if there is a tissue or if there's a layer of cells, if you pour some water on that, if they are able to move out, okay, and if you also pour some sugar in it, sugar will not come out, but only water will come out. That means this particular layer is allowing only the water to come out, but it is what it is doing, it is not allowing the sugar to come out. So this particular thing is called as the semi-permeable membrane. So semi-permeable membrane is a thing which will not allow everything to come out. It will allow only few selective things to come out. So that's why it is called as the semi-permeable membrane, or else you can also call it as selectively permeable membrane. So the cells which are over here, the epithelial tissues, maximum they are the semi-permeable in nature. If you take the internal structure of the skin, that is what we will be studying in the 5th unit, which is the sense organs. Okay, in the sense organs, you can see that the skin will have several layers. All these different layers, if this epithelial tissue is arranged in layers, if it is arranged in layers, there will be adipose tissue, there will be epidermis, there will be endodermis, okay, there will be glands which will secrete the oil, there will be glands which will secrete the mucus, several things will be, several layers will be there which have their own functions, and all these are the epithelial tissues which are arranged in such a way. So if they are arranged in such a way, then it is called as stratified epithelium. If the epithelial tissue is arranged in the layers, especially in the skin is the best example for stratified epithelium. Okay, stratified epithelium. If the tissue is arranged in cells, then it is called as the stratified epithelium. Okay, children, so we have studied till about the stratified epithelium, right? So the second one is the cuboidal epithelium. The second type of epithelium is cuboidal epithelium. It is basically present in the lining of the organs. especially in the renal tubules. They are especially helpful in the secretion and absorption of the materials. Okay, and this kind of lining is also present in the parts of the eyes. So now if you take the kidney, especially if you take the kidney has renal tubules, or you can call them as nephrons. So nephrons will be in some this kind of shape. So basically the nephron can be seen in such a way, and this nephron, what it does is, the function of the nephron is to take the blood and filter all the impurities and the toxins and unwanted waste material outside of the body. That is how the the cuboidal epithelium will help. Cuboidal epithelium basically helps in the secretion and absorption of the things. Once the blood comes into the nephron, they will secrete the waste materials outside. They'll absorb the good things and all, and they will send it to the blood, and a lot of process will take place, which you will see in the lesson which is called as excretion in your 10th class. So this is one of the best example of the cuboidal epithelium. And next we come to the columnar epithelium. This columnar epithelium is usually present in the digestive tract. It is also present in the respiratory tract, where it sends the it combines with the mucus, and it will push the air outside. Okay, and then it also helps in the secretion and the absorption. So this is how there is a columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium, in the word itself says that the epithelium will be in layers, in a column like layers. The cuboidal epithelium, you will see it in the form of a cube. Okay, so, and the last one is the modified epithelium. In the modified epithelium, the epithelium which is modified, the epithelium is the outer lining, isn't it? So it will be modified into different structures. Now you can see nails on your body, isn't it? So this nails is also a kind of modified epithelium, and then hair which is on your body is also kind of modified epithelium. If you observe the birds also, they have feathers which covers its body. That is also kind of modified epithelium. And then fishes, if you observe the fishes, they'll have scales on them. So when you buy fishes, you'll remove all the scales, isn't it, and make the fish nice and soft. So those scales are also nothing but the modified epithelium. So this is how the first layer, which is called as the epithelium, is divided into 4 different kinds of epithelium. First one is the stratified epithelium, second one is the cuboidal epithelium, third one is the columnar epithelium, and the fourth one is the modified epithelium. So these are the 4 different kinds of epithelial layers, which are the first tissues which we discussed till now. Okay, let's go to the second tissue. Okay, children, the second one is the connective tissue. What is it? It is connective tissue. This connective tissue is a very, very important, and it plays a prominent role in the tissues. So this connective tissue is basically present in all the internal organs which are located in the body. And all the internal organs, they are separate organs, isn't it? But even if you jump, even if you walk, even if you run, even if you fall down, they will not move from their places. They are located, and you cannot see any kind of displacement in that, isn't it? That means they will not move from one place to the other, isn't it? So just assume that if you are jumping, your heart is moving here and there, or your liver will move upside down, so they will get displaced, isn't it? But that is not happening because of the connective tissues. They connected the tissues in such a way that these organs will not move at all. Okay, so basically the organs and muscles are actually connected properly because of this connective tissues, and they bind the tissues with the organs. Connective tissue especially binds all the other organs, so that every organ will be in that particular place. Now it gives a proper framework to our body. If there's no proper frame, our head should be on our foot, isn't it? So it should fall down. Because of the skeletal framework we have, If we are able to stand still, if the bones are not connected properly, if the bones get displaced, you can see in a fractures, isn't it? When your hands are fractured, within no time one bone will come on the other bone, and you can see the shortness of the hands. Your hand will become very, very short. That is displaced. Okay, so because of, see, this kind of displacement should not happen. There are connective tissues and they support various organs of our body. They also help in body defense. Body defense. So your body has to defend from the foreign organisms. So many, see, every day you are consuming lot of, so many bacteria, so many viruses and whatnot. All these things will know, like, they will go inside your body and they can make you get several diseases, but that's not happening. What is the reason behind that? Because your body has a defense mechanism. It is able to fight with those bacteria, fight with those viruses, fight with those fungi and whatnot, and they will not let you cause any kind of disease. Now, there are some places where body is getting repaired. There are some tissues which you get injured. When you fall down, there will be rupture on the tissues. These all tissues should be repaired, and that is also because of the connective tissue. It will be cured. And also, this is the connective tissue which will store the fat also. Okay, so these are all the different functions of the connective tissues. Okay, so you can see here, I have listed out all the points here. You can see all the points where the connective tissues, how they are helpful to us. And now next we see that there are different kinds of animal tissues here. One is areolar tissue, second one is adipose tissue, third one is bone, fourth one is cartilage, fifth one is ligament, sixth one is tendon. So we are going to see about these 6 different connective tissues now. Okay, the first one is areolar tissue. The first one is the areolar tissue. Areolar tissues, now as we have seen the different functions of the connective tissues, you can find these connections or the points in the different connective tissues which are present in our body. The first one, we have seen that the internal organs are located and there will be no displacement in that. They will not move. So you can see the areolar tissues doing that work. It is packing and keeping the organs in place. It is packing and keeping all the organs in place. That is what is the function of the areolar tissue. And then this areolar tissue, the cells which are present in the areolar tissue are called as fibroblasts. And these fibroblasts are the major part of the connective tissues because they secrete a substance which is called as fibrous material. Fibrous in the sense thread-like structures, some thread-like material which comes out and binds to the other organs and keeps the organs in place. And then they also help in the repair of the tissues when they are injured. Whenever the tissues are injured, whenever there is a injury on the tissues, they will get repaired, they will get healed, they will get cured, and that is only because of the areolar tissue. So after the areolar tissue, we will also see adipose tissue. So after the areolar tissue, we'll go ahead with the adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is the tissue which you can see next to the layers of the skin. The skin has several layers and one of the tissue is adipose tissue. It is present in between the skin and the internal organs. What is the fat we have in our body that is stored in the adipose tissue? Adipose tissue is nothing but the cells which are filled with the fat globules so that it will form a layer of fat. Now this fat also will help as an insulator. See, when it is a winter season, the old people will shiver a lot than the young. Because the people who are very young, they have good fat in between in the adipose tissue, but whereas the old people, they will lose their fat layers, so that's why they shiver a lot. So the fat here is also acting as an insulator because it will not allow the heat to go out of the body. So that is how it is really helpful to us. That is second tissue. Third one is the bone. So you know how many bones are there in our body. All these bones will form together, come together and form as a framework, isn't it? They are all forming as a framework, and that is how we call it as a skeletal system. And the skeletal system will support the whole body and makes you stand on your feet. Just assume there is no bones in your body. What will happen? Where will be your face? Okay, so you cannot even imagine our body without bones. So it is a major part which is in the skeletal system. And then there are this is a major part in the several vertebrae. Any organism which has a vertebral column, that is backbone, their body is maximum made up of what? Bones. So especially if you take the shark and all, know, even though it's a vertebrae, its body is made up of only cartilage. It doesn't have bones in its body. So bones will provide framework to a body, supports us, and you have a perfect skeletal system because of the bone. And the next one we go is the cartilage. Cartilage, it is a very, very delicate part, not as strong as the bone. Okay, it's a bit not that hard as a cartilage. So you can find this cartilage at the joints of the bones. At the joint of the bones, so you can find this cartilage, and even at the tip of the ribs also. The ribs, like the ribs are joined. The tip of the ribs is also having the cartilage. Even you observe the tip of your nose here. This particular part, if you observe, it's very hard because it is made up of bone. But whereas if you see this part, it is completely not that as hard as this bone. So this is made up of cartilage. And even if you take your ear also, it is also made up of cartilage. The external ear is made up of cartilage, and the whole body of the shark is made up of cartilage. So this is about the cartilage. So cartilage is present in the joint of the bones. It is present at the joints of the bones. And then coming to the ligament. This is the one which is very, very important because it may come in the examination point of view. It is connecting the bone at the joints. See, two bones, they have to join together like this, isn't it? It's a different bone, it's a different bone. If there is no proper joint here, now your body may get displaced, isn't it? So there should be a proper joint. So this ligament will have large number of fibers. Okay, large number of fibers is the fibrous network, which is made up of a protein which is called as collagen, which will bind the bones at the joint so that they will not move. Anyhow, they will not. It's not that great support, but still it will bind them so that they will not get displaced. Okay, and coming to the tendon, and tendon is the one which is joining the muscle to the bones. Now here we have seen that only the bones are joined because of the ligament, but whereas the muscle should be joined with the bone so that it can stay, isn't it? You might have seen a chicken leg piece, right? So the whole muscle is completely bounded to the bone, isn't it? So before it is cooked, it will not come out. Once you cook it, it will come out very easily. So before that, it binds to the bone. So here the tendon will help the muscle to get joined to the bone, connected to the bone. So these are all the different connective tissues, and these are all the solid connective tissues, right? So tomorrow we are going to see a liquid connective tissue, a fluid connective tissue. Okay, until then, see you all. Have a great day.